We are live. Welcome back to another episode of Kentucky Talks with Mark and Steve.
And I'm Steve. Today we're driving into the top 5 news stories that are making waves across Kentucky. These are the stories that impact all of us. So let's get started. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Well, the first thing we have up here is that there's an ongoing political battle between Governor Andy Beshear and the Republican-dominated legislature. Recently, Governor Beshear vetoed several bills, including those related to abortion and LGBTQ plus rights. This has sparked a lot of debate and controversy. Stephen, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, so it's a tough decision, right? He did an executive order earlier this year, said you can't go seek counseling, conversion, and they put a lot of different things that gave a lot of latitude as far as who could be prosecuted if they did anything close to or resembling any type of what was called conversion therapy.
Yeah.
I think the House bill, I mean, I don't have it right in front of me. Give me a second, but I pulled it up. And in that bill, it was, he already knew it was stacked against him, but he did it anyway as a show of good faith from his party stance, I think. And then obviously vetoing it when it came back through as a bill. I think the Republican Party's goal was to make it a parent's right to decide whether or not.
Right. I mean, his stance on it is pretty controversial, especially in Kentucky, where we believe in a parent's rights. Most Kentuckians believe in parents' rights. Parents have the right to raise their children the way they see fit. It used to be that the dangers of raising a child were about, are you beating the child? Are you physically harming the child? And now it's like, is the child upset? If a child gets upset, it becomes a major problem, and it seems for some people. And it's like, well, it's okay to be it's okay to be upset. We have to teach our children to be that it's okay to be said no to.
Yeah, learn how to use your feelings,
and be able to. I'm not saying you can't have feelings. But that doesn't mean that your feelings drive the ship.
Yeah. Now, I do agree with my friends on the left where they talk about there are certain types of counselings I really do think that was meant for. I mean, I do not believe in any way that any child should go through some type of rehabilitative counseling that is
like militant type.
Militant, tie you to a chair, leave you in a locked room. Something that would be like out of SEER school, right? Survival, escape, reaction, and evasion. Yeah, I would never wish that upon somebody unless you absolutely wanted that lifestyle. But I would never wish that it would be so harassing. Make somebody feel belittled for their thoughts. And
I just think that Governor Beshear his executive order went too far. It was too vague. And if he would have said, oh, no, you can't have this militant, restructuring of a person or what have you. But at the same time, you have to allow for counseling and for people to disagree with, your self-assessment, right? Because especially as a child, you go through different periods of life where you think, well, I just don't know. I don't know. I don't. Maybe your best friend stops hanging out with you and hangs out with somebody else or something like that. Those things can turn a kid pretty quickly, and they can start having strange thoughts about that. Am I who I think I am, and things like that. And then eventually they come back around. But
I think the frustrating part is his thing was on a more national perspective than on a local perspective.
Well, the thought process here is that Governor Beshear is going to run for president.
Sure, right.
And so that's what he's trying to align himself to. But
I get it.
I mean, what's funny is you watch these weekly talk shows and things like that, and they talk about how well Governor Beshear is looked at because he's a Democratic governor in a Republican state, generally a Republican state, and what they don't realize is they think that he's they allow him to take the credit for the things that happen, but you see over and over again that the Republican Party, the Republicans in legislature, are vetoing these things, his ideas, and or he's vetoing, and they're overriding the veto, which allows a lot of this monies and things like that. A lot of the things that are making us successful for businesses that come here and things like that have nothing to do with the governor. So,
well, this political tug of war is just something every Kentuckian should keep an eye on, and it affects our laws. It affects your values. We do have a Republican majority, and I do think that it is aligned with a lot of our Christian beliefs. So I think we should move forward and just continue to be involved. The less involved you are, then the less you get to have input with your elected officials. If they don't hear from you, they don't know what your wishes are.
Right, absolutely. And but you know what? Moving on to our next story. It is.
Breaking.
It is Kentucky high school basketball state tournament is in full swing at Rupp Arena.
Yeah.
They just finished up the opening round of the NCAA tournament last week for the college. Now this week, KHSAA boys or Sweet 16 is now going on in Rupp Arena, so it's busy over there in Lexington. Have you seen any of the games or?
Well, I've been trying to keep up with it. You've got Ashland, Bowling Green. Their scores are out. KHS Sweet scores Wednesday, I think, is Bowling Green. They won 52 over Adair County at 51. Jeffersontown was 64 over St. Xavier, 49 on Wednesday, and then Oldham 67. Danville Christian was 44 points, so South Oldham won. Ashland Blazers 81 over Callaway County, 64 points. And then, of course, Thursday's game, North Laurel 54, Brett Hitt County 53.
Breathitt County.
It was a close game.
Take a breath.
54-53. Montgomery County was 98-72 against Lawrence County. Great Crossing 69 over Davies County 37. Cooper County 50 over Henderson County 35. And Friday, Bowling Green 80, Ashland Blazers 74. So this,
before you get too far, if you think about this. They're already playing games in the high school high scoring. So the school days are going on. It's 11 a.m. Bowling Green beats Ashland. Ashland Blazer 80-74 in overtime. At 11 o'clock in the morning, I think I always find that interesting that these kids, the kids
in school.
Normally they're doing this in the evening and such, but now they're playing at 11 o'clock in the morning. I don't have the we don't have the score here, but 1:30 South Oldham played Jeffersontown,
and then 6 p.m. is North Laurel,
and that one's getting ready to come up. Here in about a couple hours. Right?
And of course, a late game tonight, which is at 8:30, which will be Great Crossing versus Cooper, and then it's already lined up in the semifinals for 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. Will be Bowling Green, obviously, because they won at 11 today.
They'll take on the winner the South Oldham Jeffersontown winner. Yeah,
and then you've got the semifinal round, and then at 7:30 tomorrow will be the championship.
Yeah, game. I've always found that interesting. You're playing the semifinals and the championship game all one day. It's like one game after another. It's kind of like
boom, boom, boom.
It's like the old days going and playing in a basketball tournament when we were kids, and we would we'd get a team together, go play some summer ball around town or something around the county, and. It's these different tournaments, you just play all day.
It's just not about the games. It's also about the camaraderie, right? All of these teams have been playing all year. Now they get to play across the state and have some competitions that may not have been in their playlist, and now they're getting to see the talent from across the state. So
yeah, it's been it's been a very good high school basketball in Kentucky is a very big deal. And
it's like Friday Night Lights in Texas. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So, well, speaking of sports, today, Kentucky is finding itself. They're looking at the high side of a possible transfer of Kam Williams from Tulane. It's a big deal for Kentucky. It's going to be I don't know a ton about Cam just yet, but I just heard his name last night for the first time, and I was trying to. And what do you have on Cam?
Well, I guess my thing would be he would be a fantastic addition to the team. He's known for his versatility and scoring ability, but I think that the transfer could really boost our chances in the upcoming season. I guess it's exciting to see how he'll fit into the team dynamics and where that'll play out. He's got a great history. It's really weird though that we're talking about the basketball team and this movement of players. Like these are, strong pro athletes already at their age.
Well, I heard something. I've heard something over the last couple of months that it says, college is. If you look at college athletics now, it's like semi pro ball.
Yeah.
Right. You're getting paid. Not by the university directly.
Right.
It's NIL money, which is which comes from name, image, and likeness. But what happened is a lot of these colleges, especially the larger ones and more popular ones, Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio State, they put together these the fan bases put together these what are they called? Not a conglomerate, but they're a group that basically you give into this group, and then they are now paying NIL for the name, image, and likeness for those players, and that allows them to come there. And so there's already guaranteed money when they arrive on campus. It's not directed by the university, but the university coaches can go out and help raise the money for this, and it helps with recruiting. I used to be against that. I used to think that the kids didn't need to get paid. Not that I didn't want them to get paid. I thought there was too much money in college sports anyway. But man, it's sort of fun to watch, and I think it would, if you try to take the money out of it, it would ruin the game at this point. And the fact that there's so much money in it, that the kids deserve money. And what do you go to college for? You go to college to learn how to have a career, right?
Yeah.
So basketball, they want to be a basketball coach, or they want to be a basketball player.
You can be scooped up without a college education and go work for the NBA.
Yeah,
so, it's either this or that. So
the kids are getting a college education at the same time. And now with NIL, they're staying longer. Yeah. They're no longer like trying to hop out and get the money at the NBA because, or the NFL for that matter, on the football side. They can now relax and stay in college, work around. They can transfer to another school. That's something I think they need to be cleaned up a little bit.
Pardon me, sir.
Yes.
Is there something new?
There's
that was a good one.
It was really good. It threw me off.
Pardon me, sir. That's our fourth story for the night.
Now we're shifting gears a little bit back into some politics and such, but there's been a significant development in the case of Patrick Baker, who was pardoned by former Governor Matt Bevin, if you remember Matt, Mr. Governor Bevin. A judge recently ruled that there will be no new trial for Baker, who was convicted in federal court. This case has been quite controversial. What's your take on it?
Well, as anything, it can be complex, right? I mean, we're not attorneys, but the precedent. It's just like watching Biden get pardoned by his dad after he said he wouldn't do it, right? Okay, so and you could have a conversation all day long as a local about that being right or wrong. But, at the end of the day, that's his son. He had the power to do it. Would you have done it? I don't.
Oh, man, it's tough. I think you do. I think that family comes first, and the thing is don't apologize for it. Don't lie about it. Just say, yeah, he's my son. I'm going to take care of him. Do you put a little fear into him for doing the things that he does? Sure. But that's a different thing. But one thing that I have to ask myself like this, because he's got Governor Bevin could only pardon him for state offenses, right? Not federal offenses. So that would have to come from a president or have you. So now the federal government is no longer looking to no longer looking at it, right? So
again, it brings argument to probably every plaintiff, lawyer, or criminal attorney that would ever fight a case in a criminal case or something to that effect. It adds a new dynamic for the state of Kentucky based on a judge's ruling, and then of course the powers of the office of the executive branch for Kentucky. So it's a new dynamic, right?
It is. I mean, it just changes your perspective, and every time like you said, every time there's another court case, there's layers put on it, precedents put on it. You have to be very careful. I mean, there's a lot going on in D.C. right now, for instance, with court cases that, it's a little strange to some of the rulings that are coming out. But it's going to force it all to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court's going to have to make a ruling. And as we've seen in the past, they don't all go President Trump's way, and they all don't go the Democrats' way. So they, but still they set precedent.
Yeah, the ruling is simple. There is no new court case surrounding the case because it was pardoned, criminal case. The criminal case has already been adjudicated and it's been pardoned. So
yeah, so the last story.
Before you go to that,
okay.
So I just did want to tell everybody that we do have some storms coming through this weekend.
Yes.
It's an addition to our segment this week, but it should be severe. Could be severe weather possible.
Specifically Sunday night.
Yep, it is Sunday. So keep an eye out to your NOAA radio and weather forecast. Yeah. We do have a weather button on our website at themessengerky.com. It's on the top left side of the website. It's got the temperature. If you click on that, it'll also keep you informed with weather updates with our website. I can only stress to you that we're at the beginning of the April season. Obviously,
this is it. I mean, you're going to have storms now, rolling through between now and all the way up through the
end of May.
End of May. And so, one of the number one things is just make sure you're prepared. Right. Make sure you have a way for people for you to get information.
Yep.
A battery powered radio, maybe because you won't, if a storm hits, you're not going to be able to necessarily rely on your cell phone, your television, your infrastructure at your home. You're going to have something that's mobile and something that
radio.
NOAA radio is a very good
multiple towers.
Very good. Yeah, it's running all times. It's on a I think it's on a shorter wave, right? It's not.
It is. It's on a UHF and a VHF frequency.
Right. So it's covering all the bases, and you should be able to pick it up at just about anywhere, anytime. But thanks for bringing that up, Steve.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So anyway, the last story we wanted to cover, we call it the last story, but maybe you never know with us, right?
Yeah. I got a curveball for you. I think.
So this story is about the economic impact of federal budget cuts on Kentucky, with recent cuts proposed by the Trump administration.
Yeah.
There's concern about how this will affect our state, especially since Kentucky is one of the most federally dependent states. What do you think the potential impacts are?
So, well, this is why I think it's important. Our representatives have done a great job. Last year, they had the budget and legislation. They put money aside, right?
Yes.
And
the
rainy day fund. I think Nancy Tate calls it that. I love it, the rainy day fund. But we've never had the budget where we've had this additional money, and with good measure, they use that money as well to make sure that would they offset in the school districts additional monies. I think it was a House Bill 1 last year that gave school districts additional monies to support local school district programs.
Yep.
That could either go towards payroll, it could go toward building structure, it could go to anything that the school district needed in order to equip them over the next 2 years before they come back to do another budget, because they have a longer session when they do that. Right. This year, they don't discuss a lot of those budget issues unless I would assume they would have to legislate for emergency funding outside of the normal budget year. But I don't know that they had any of that this year. But with these cuts being in the year that President Trump took over, some of those monies that we have that were dedicated by the government is what the budget was passed to support. So it'd be interesting to see what those impacts will be. A lot of those monies have already been received by the state.
Right.
So it'd be future payments. Whether it be, like they said, the Department of Education is going away, but the programs that supported low income,
we're saving on administrative monies, not on cutting monies from that are allocated to the states.
That's right.
The states are going to get that money more directly. I think they said something like 47 cents right now, or before the Trump administration, 47 cents on every dollar that was allocated was wasted in administration fees, something like that. I think I read that somewhere. And so
that's like the 47 cents you see.
No,
taxed
47
on.
cents on every dollar that was allocated.
Right.
They spend 47 cents of it just administering it to get it to the states.
In perspective, it'd be like when you go to the gas pump and you see that 47 cents of the dollar amount of your gallon goes towards a tax. It's a similar.
Yeah.
It's like
you might as well look at it. It's like a tax. So what President Trump is trying to do, he's not trying to necessarily abolish education. He's trying to get rid of the red tape that takes so much money out of the system, and so that money can go right into the states, and the states can then allocate it through their Department of Educations. I've said this for years. There's 51 Department of Educations in the United States. You have 51 in each state, and then you have the federal government, and the federal government is like a dam, like a log jam in a river, right? The money's there, it's building up behind it, but it's not getting through to the states as well. That's why you have teachers having to spend money out of their own pocket to get paper and supplies for their kids and things like that.
So they did say that their DOGE has announced that 10 grants to the Kentucky Cabinet for Health and Family Services will be terminated. That amount is $122,137,033. Human Resource Cabinet and one to the University of Kentucky Research Foundation will be terminated, reportedly generating like
does it say what those are
$5
for?
million in savings. I'm getting to that part.
Yeah.
Called grant terminations unlawful. They've received notice of grants being canceled. Beshear said it's an unlawful cancellation and we will challenge it. These are contracts that we have. The contracts can only be terminated for cause, which means somebody did something wrong, and they're trying to define cause as the pandemic. That's not a legal argument, is the argument back. So there's going to be some back and forth in these cuts that are being determined, but it's going to play out. It's going to have to play out in the courts. We've had these discussions before where, it's going to be an interesting test of our systems between executive, legislative, and the judicial branches of our government to see where those powers lie in order to regulate spending in such a way that we're not wasteful spending. And I'm sure that these grants are probably important. They were important for something or they wouldn't have applied. But again, without being able to peel that back and dissect it closely to find out who is truly impacted, much like the discovery that the DOGE has said before, like, why are we paying a 9-month-old a business loan? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's so much fraud in all of these things. I do think it's invaluable to validate the dollars and where they're going, and if the Kentuckian recipients, the intended recipients, are truly the recipients of said dollars. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so that's got to be peeled back.
I think so. I mean, and that's what a lot of this is about, is making sure it's getting to the people who need it, who are actually require it, and not to the 10, 20, 30% of scam artists and things like that are pillaging this money as it comes off. They're basically sitting there with their hands out first before it gets to the people that really need it. I mean, I heard on the I think on one of the on the daily programs this morning, they said that the IRS. Is it the IRS or the Treasury Department? Excuse me. Let me think about that.
Are you talking about the 1,400 positions?
No.
Okay.
This is right up the alley of scam artists and such. They get like 10,000 phone calls a day or something like that in the and most of them are the Social Security Office wanting to change the Social Security to the payment to direct deposit, right? And trying to and what they're doing is
somebody else.
Most of them are scam artists trying to move the money from this person's account, from this person's Social Security, into their own account, and so they're trying to change the account, through the system. Well, if what they're trying to do, one of the things that DOJ is trying to do is that they're trying to shore that up so that it can't, so that they can connect these systems together.
Yeah.
And once the systems are connected together, they'll be able to identify whether this person is the right person, that the addresses line up.
Yep.
You can't just get away with it from one location. You'd have to have everything changed in all locations. Otherwise, it'll put up a red flag.
Like the guy
Those are
that's
the type of things that they're trying to do.
150 years old still getting Social Security.
Yeah, there's like 300 and some. There's people. They said there's thousands of people with that are over 150 years old.
Yeah.
Whether they get Social Security or not, it's not always the case. But because I think over 150 is where it cuts off. It says after 150, there's a flag of some sort that says they can't get a check. But at 150. And there's nobody in the United States that's 150 years old.
You could have worked like 6 jobs, 6 careers. I'd say. But anyway,
it's like, but what? So one last thing before we sign off. I mean, we talked about Kentucky a little bit with Kam Williams and such. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of activity going on. Mark Pope is very active in the portal already. But coming up tonight at 7:39, Kentucky plays Tennessee in the Sweet 16.
Sure,
it's going to be a tough game. Kentucky is already Kentucky and Tennessee have already played twice this year in the regular season. Kentucky's won both those matches. It's very tough to beat somebody 3 times in the season. So Kentucky's going to have a tough road ahead of them. But they've got pretty much their whole team. They're still missing 2 guards. That would be very, very helpful tonight. But I think that the fact that they have Lamont Butler, and he is, I really think as far as he and his sore shoulder can take them, that's how far they're going to go. So, but thanks, Steve, for putting us on again this week. I think that's a wrap for today. We had 6 stories, I think we had.
We covered 6 things.
But it's good.
Stay tuned to the weather. Don't forget, if you're looking for some advertising opportunities, you can get in touch with us here at Meade Media Group. Talk to Sean or Jaden. We do have 4 sponsorships open for this series for Kentucky Talks, where we try to keep you up to date with the news across Kentucky.
Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged.
We'll see ya.
Kentucky Talks.